WWE are frustrated over low ticket sales. We've got an update on Will Ospreay's AEW return, and are Vince McMahon and Donald Trump going to attend Cena's final match? Stay tuned for all the deets. So following on from a wild steel cage match at AEW Forbidden Door 2025, Will Ospreay was scheduled to take a bit of an extended break away from AEW programming in order to undergo neck surgery and just sort of, I guess, generally rest up in the aftermath of that, and I guess heal up as much other things as possible, because the man is a human pinball. He's a human pinball,
and like everything prior to that, so okay, his way of wrestling is incredibly physical, isn't it? And I think
it has to take a toll.
1,000%.
So any time off, it's hopefully going to be beneficial. Ospreay confirmed reports of damage to his neck at the time, putting some doubt into his future. But despite competing at Forbidden Door, there was reportedly no further risk that could be done to the particular issue. Ospreay is now on the road to recovery, though, and things are looking bright for that return. That way perhaps comes sooner rather than later as well. So we might have Ospreay back. He said he's now 6 weeks gone from successful neck surgery, and a positive update emerged from Saminder Singh of the Body Alignment Clinic in Raynham, Essex, taking to Instagram and saying, at AEW All-Star, at Will Ospreay, 6 weeks post-op and doing great. Still some way to go, but we're on the right road. January 2026, which is insane.
Well, you said he's a human pinball machine, but at the same time,
that's like a John Cena injury return, where it's like, this is a 5-year thing. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Man's a machine. Yeah, man's a machine, and
I just January it's a really, really short window.
Yeah, it is. No, I thought for a neck operation as well.
Yeah.
I just obviously hope he's doing. He wouldn't be back in the ring around that time if he wasn't.
No, I think that everything you hear about Tony Khan suggests that he will not let talent in there until he's confident that they are healthy enough to wrestle. But I think that ultimately that's the biggest thing with Will is, as you said, his wrestling style is very physical. It pushes the boundaries in ways that especially landings and the sort of impact that his body's taking. Just fingers crossed he's able to return at 100%, and that there's been no slowdown, and that it's just this never happens again.
Yeah, I'm so excited because obviously all the momentum was behind him and has been for the longest time.
It's not like stopped, it's just sort of slow, doesn't it?
But for someone like Will Ospreay, though, as soon as he comes back, it's going to be straight up there again.
He's going to walk out on the stage and be like, I'm back, and then do a double backflip without even moving. He'll just somehow do a double backflip. Just
without even getting off his feet.
Stood comfortably, just goes like, wah.
If it's Will Ospreay, I wouldn't put it past him at all. Yeah.
Well, moving over to the sort of pending farewell on the other side of the fence for John Cena. Obviously, John Cena's last match is set to emanate from the next Saturday night's main event. But people in WWE reportedly believe, and we've been talking about this one for a while when it first emerged, that President Donald Trump will be in attendance, but also Vince McMahon will be in attendance for John Cena's final match at the December 13th edition of Saturday night's main event from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Observer Live said, I've had people speculate that both Donald Trump and Vince McMahon are going to be at John Cena's final match. I mean, Vince can be there. He can buy a ticket. There's a way to get him there. Whether they show him on TV or make a big deal out of it, it'll be something different. But I've certainly had people in WWE who firmly believe that Vince and Donald Trump are both going to be at John Cena's final match. I never really thought about the idea of Vince being there.
Yeah, me neither.
But I sort of agree. I feel like Vince will be there. I don't think they'll put him on TV, perhaps. I think that would be a very foolish move. But I think that now that I sort of look at it, it's like, he probably would have just been backstage or something anyway, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't really know either, because sort of we've heard his name be spoke before on TV since obviously the allegations and everything. And I mean, the sort of relationship that him and Cena have together, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he was there, but I don't know. Would showing him on TV almost be like a testing of the waters for something?
It could potentially be, and that's sort of the big worry, isn't it? But as you said, obviously Vince McMahon and John Cena have remained friends throughout all of this, despite the allegations levied against McMahon by Janelle Grant, and those are allegations that resulted in his resignations as TNA's executive chairman back in 2024. But Cena has repeatedly expressed his love for McMahon since the allegations were made public. And of course, on the Donald Trump front, when it was initially announced, that story broke that they're trying to get Trump to be there because it's at the Capitol, and obviously he's going to be closer than ever to it. As of mid-October, Trump was reportedly undecided still about whether or not to attend Cena's final match, with the president already scheduled to be at the Army versus Navy college football game at Baltimore's M&T Bank Stadium that day, but he apparently would have enough time to travel to Capital One Arena. So I think if they can get the president there, they're going to do it regardless of who the president is, I'd imagine. But Vince, the more I think about it, the more it's like, he might just be backstage anyway. I don't, but as you said, it could be that they test the water, and I think if you're going to test the water there, that's a very... I mean, yes, you've got Cena. Yes, it's going to be a very emotional moment, but it'd be sort of like bringing him out after Cody won. It'd be like, whoa, okay.
I guess it. And it might not even happen at all, whether it's just like a quick flash on the screen or something.
It could be purely speculative on this front that he's not even attending. But yeah, it's one of those interesting ones that obviously opens up a lot more questions if he is to be in attendance. Obviously, they would want to show Trump as much as possible because it's like, hey, the president of the entire country's here. But yeah, Vince, I don't know. But keeping it with WWE here, and this one's an interesting one. It's a really interesting one. They've got the cake.
Yes.
But they want to eat the cake all the time.
Well, maybe they can't eat the cake all the time,
You can't have your cake and eat it, can you, Andrew?
You can't.
WWE taped the go-home edition of Friday Night SmackDown before Saturday night's main event on Halloween, with both shows emanating from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. WWE apparently weren't very happy about the ticket sales for SmackDown, though. WrestleTix noted that only 4,226 tickets were distributed for the Halloween edition of the show, and sections of the upper deck were tarped off due to the attendance. Fightful Select also reported that a source within WWE indicated the ticket sales for SmackDown were very disappointing, and a lot of fans who bought tickets were moved down to the lower level. Ooh. So people got free upgrades.
Yeah, but imagine the people who have spent the really expensive amounts of money to be down at the bottom.
It's what happened to me with AEW, the first All In. I was talking to the guy next to me, and he was like, I got these tickets for like 30 quid. And I was like,
wow.
What? And he was like, just off their website. And I was like, it wasn't even a reseller.
It's like, to be fair,
I had a heart attack. I was like,
I say as well, like the people who have spent the really like expensive amounts of money, even in the nosebleeds these days, you spend it. It's more power like to you if you got moved down. Like, that's amazing.
But yeah, SmackDown's ticket sales were well below WWE's average attendance of 11,500 for 2025 so far. The company's average attendance has continued to climb in spite of criticism at ticket prices doubling since the TKO merger in September 2023, which we reported on a couple of weeks ago. Matches taped at the Halloween edition of SmackDown included Ilya versus Nathan Frazer for the US title, Alexa versus Nia, and JC Mateo versus Tama Tonga versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Ticket sales did improve for the November 1st edition of Saturday night's main event, of course. WrestleTix noted shortly before the show went on air that 7,867 tickets were distributed. Could it be that Utah just isn't a good market for wrestling? Could it be that it was Halloween? Or could it simply be that your tickets are far too expensive? How, like...
Or could it be that Tonga Loa wasn't in that tag team match there?
It could be, it could be. I know I wouldn't be showing up if he wasn't on the poster.
But I mean, it's a tale as old as time, because we talk about this all the time on the news.
This so far is an anomaly, right? So they're currently pulling an average of about 11,500, I think it said here just before. About 11,500 for 2025. So this is the anomalous one. If we continue to see this trend down, then it's going to be squeaky bum time. But I think this is just a blip, and they're currently going, And then next week they'll kind of see how it fares.
I guess that's it.
But I think that it's one of those things where ticket prices are not going to come down unless you start seeing catastrophically empty houses.
And I think that's it for the week to week shows as well. Obviously they're going live on television, so they might be a little bit more. I remember like back in the day, obviously there's a price difference between going to see like a house show than going to see. Yeah, no, exactly. But like. The way that these are now priced is it's surely got to be so much harder for people to justify wanting to spend that kind of money.
That's it. It's like not every single SmackDown can be the Super Bowl, you know, where like all the tickets are kind of very hard to get and, you know, everybody's vying for them. I think that it's one of those things where, yes, you're still going to see that for Mania. You're going to see it for a load of other stuff, regardless of prices. But when it comes to the weeklies, I'm quite interested in following this a bit more closely just to see how this pans out. Because if we do, as I said, if we do start to see that trending down generally, then they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
So it's just a really, really, really interesting story, isn't it? When you're increasing your ticket prices so they're unsustainably expensive and now nobody's buying them. But that was it for your second dose of wrestling news. We'll be back later on if anything else breaks. But if not, keep it with us here in the meantime. We'll have plenty of content coming out on the channel over the course of the day and the rest of the week. And for now, just, I guess, well, have a nice day. Tatty, bye and that. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.